Welcome, welcome. We have another awesome show with a great guest on the other side. This is Flippin Miami. Let me turn on Instagram live here. Flippin Miami. I'm your host, Raul, and today I have a special guest who's been in the business 20 plus years. He's out of Arizona. He pretty much does it all. He started, I think he bought his first house as a rental. Then he started flipping houses and he wholesales. He's got a website, a really cool Instagram, always pushing out content. It's actually how we met. So I'm excited to have Zweig here. Hopefully I didn't butcher that too much. And I appreciate you coming on, bro.
Thank you, Raul.
No problem, man. So yeah, I know that we met on Instagram and all. So I want to share a little bit of what your business looks like and kind of how you got started and these types of things. And I mean, I find it amazing you've been in the business 20 plus years. It's like, you know, us young dogs, we think about that. It's like, damn, it sounds like an eternity, but I'm sure you have so much experience and so many things that you've been through. And I would love to get some of that insight as we go.
Absolutely. It's true what they say about 5 years, you snap your fingers and it's moved. So yeah, time was quick. It seems like yesterday.
Yeah, it's crazy, bro. So Flip, and I love the name Flip. It's awesome. So Flip, I want to kind of back up a little bit. So if let's say we would have met in like high school, like those years, like your high school years, maybe your early college years, like who was Flip back then? You know, was Flip were you like a good student? Were you outgoing? Were you, like who was Flip back in the day? Like what were you like?
Wow, that's taking me way back. So I would definitely say I was very much introverted. Once I hit junior high school, I was friends with everyone, though. I had a lot of friends, but like kind of quiet, kind of reserved, and didn't like public speaking, didn't like being in front of crowds, and it kind of changed when I got to college.
Really?
Yeah.
So you were a little bit more on the reserve side. Like you had friends, but it wasn't like you were outgoing and hustling and bustling and doing a bunch of stuff. You were kind of like more okay. And then as you're coming out of like that high school and into that college world, what did you think you were going to start doing as far as like career and profession? Like what was in your mind at that point?
Back in the day, I had no idea. I just knew I came from a small town in Indiana, and I knew my sister went to Arizona State, and then I was going to go to college in the Midwest, but I had an opportunity to bring her out here, and next thing you know, I ended up going to school at ASU and kind of got out of my comfort zone because, there's thousands of kids on campus, and like I was not like it really took me out of my comfort zone right away.
That's crazy. And then so you went to ASU. What did you go there to study?
Originally I was in business, and then I started, what had happened to me, Raul, is I found a mentor even back then who was going to this gym right across from our apartment complex. So I began training with the weights and learning about bodybuilding. So I switched from business to physiology because I thought I was going to go to physical therapy, and didn't go that route, but I got my degree in exercise physiology.
Wow, that's pretty interesting. And what's crazy is like, I don't know what the statistic is, but like the statistic of people changing their majors and what they're studying it's insane. I think it's like above 70%. I don't know what it is, but it must be high. Yeah. Go ahead.
It's so hard, especially nowadays with, a lot of kids, with Grant and Gary Vee, as far as do they go to college or do they get the YouTube, education? So.
Yeah. And like, I'd be curious to hear your input on that. And I want to get to your business in a second, but so you've been in the game for a while. You went to college, you studied different things. What's your take on that whole world? Like, someone coming out wants to get into real estate or has the idea to maybe start investing or doing wholesale or getting buy and holds or flipping, what's your take as far as like college education? What would be like the first route that you would start going if you're like talking to your, 18-year-old self?
Good question. I would go in, nowadays there's so much on social, so watch a lot of YouTube, of course. Find a couple people in your local market and go sit and chat with them and see if it's something you want to do. And like, I would even offer to work for free for those guys just to kind of shadow them, be their guinea pig, do door knocking, do whatever they ask, and surround yourself and see if the business is for you, because I mean, it's not an easy business.
No. I mean, it's simple. I mean, it's
very simple. Yep.
Simple, but it's not easy, man. It does take work, and the freedom that this business can bring, it doesn't come easy. It comes with a lot of work. It comes with a lot of, to get that like freedom that you might see on TV takes 10 to 20 years of intense hustle.
For sure. Yeah. And it's interesting. I'm new to Instagram. Pace, a friend of mine, he said, Flip, everyone in town, but you're not on Instagram. He's 32, maybe 34. And he's like, you're making a big mistake. And that's when I got on like 3 or 4 months ago. Because you got to constantly adapt to, markets. And, I see a lot of younger guys maybe thinking it's an easy, quick hustle. You could, make a couple 100,000 out of the bat, but I mean, you can, but that's not always the reality for the majority of the people getting into the game.
Yeah. So yeah, Flip. I completely agree. And we probably broke a couple hearts saying that right now, but,
right.
But
it can be done. It can be done.
Yeah, but it's the truth. This is truth. So let's kind of like fast forward. Flip, you went to college. You studied the exercise world. You were into bodybuilding and all that. And let's fast forward to kind of like, how did you get involved into real estate? Like, what happened in your life? That was it a moment in time that you were like, okay, I'm gonna start doing my own thing in real estate, or was it like you kind of stumbled upon it? Like, what kind of happened in your life that you came across real estate and decided and committed to like start doing it as your career?
We either become exactly like our parents or go the complete opposite direction, right? So yeah. Growing up, I have great parents and love them to death. They're my heroes. But like, my dad couldn't come to any of my sporting events. He couldn't come to my basketball, my extracurricular activities, because he was always working 5 jobs. And, I still talk to him to this day. And he realizes that did affect me and that like hurt me. But like, I just knew when I got into the world of corporate, I tried it, but it wasn't going to fly, because I wanted to eventually have a family and, be time, like freedom of time is so critical in life.
Yeah. No, I asked this question to kind of gauge where you're at with time and stuff. And not everyone has different answers, but there's pretty much 2 types of people, or people are in 2 types of stages in their life. So right now, Flip, I were to offer you $500 extra per day or 2 hours extra per day. What would you choose?
Oh yeah, it's the time for sure.
Yeah.
I wish I had more time. I'm loving every day and just, meet new guys like yourself. And it's amazing. And, you realize that your time is really limited.
Yeah. No, it's so key. It's something that you don't realize until things get going. And I'm still relatively young, but you realize it once time goes by like quickly. So Flip, what does your business life look like now? What are the kind of businesses you have in real estate or outside of real estate? I know before we started recording, you mentioned you do some wholesale, flip, everything. So I guess give us an idea of like what Flip's business world looks like and what are some of the things you're doing?
Yeah. So it started 20 years ago, and it's changed and pivoted, but it's like the key that I realized, it's all about relationships, any business really. Like that's how I do so well, is I work with a ton of wholesalers, ton of realtors, but we always say there's different approaches. We want to do a lot of deals, but I always say let's try one first and kind of see if we're a good fit, see how it works, and always follow through on those commitments that you make, because it's not about the 10 or 15 grand on a wholesale or whatever. It's about really diving deep into those relationships and keep utilizing them, because you don't want to have to recircle and reach out. It's great to reach out to a lot of people, but like those key relationships, whatever you do, from what I found, is a big difference.
Yeah. And so how are you using now relationships to either like get deals or get money or private money, or are you using them for like acquiring? Oh yeah.
Everything. So whether it's, hard money, like private money, joint ventures, I do a ton of joint venture deals, because now instead of doing 5 deals, I may do 10 deals at a time. So it just really, multiplies what I'm able to do, and the systems and the teams and all that.
Oh, damn, that's awesome. And like right now in your business, you have, so I imagine that you have some kind of teams or assistants set up to help you maneuver the JV deals, or maneuver like the properties that you're flipping, or what is like the team world look like for you guys right now?
Yeah, I mean, have teams in all areas. So like, for example, I bought 5 units in Scottsdale, Arizona, condos. And the way that deal worked, Raul, is I knew it was a good deal. It was $837,000 for 5 condos. So I took it under contract, but I didn't know if I was going to do it myself. I didn't know where I was going to get the money. Like I didn't know any of that. But the thing I want to emphasize with anyone watching, it's if you find a deal, make sure you lock the deal up, because I could figure out where to take the deal, whether it's wholesale, whether it's a flip, and the money, I could get the money so they could get the money too. But make sure you lock the deal up. So with that deal, a guy approached me. He's like, "Hey, Flip, I want to partner, JV. I know you do great work. I've seen you." I didn't really know him. And he said, "I'll put up all the renovation costs. I'll manage the project, and we'll split the profits 50-50. And I had the connection for the private money. So it kind of like that deal in particular, time is so important. Like I didn't have to drive and manage it all day. And Brandon had skin in the game too. So that's, how a JV could be successful and leverage your time. That's just one example.
That's a really good example. And I think it's a common question or a common thought of like, what do I do first, Flip? Do I find the buyers? Do I find the sellers? Well, I mean, and Flip kind of just mentioned in that deal, dude, find a deal. Once you find a good deal, to get the money is not hard, or to get an exit strategy is not hard. If you got a deal, 50 cents on the dollar, or it's just in a hot area and you got it at 60 cents on the dollar, whatever the numbers are, I mean, it's a deal.
Lock it up. That's everything. I teach because I started teaching students again. And that's so important to get the deal. So if they're not comfortable, we go out together, we close them up, and but like you said, just lock it up, and then you figure out what to do.
Sometimes being like naive and being naive is so awesome. I remember when I started, I was like 21, and my mentor told me, dude, if it's a good deal, just lock it up. And so I was locking up deals left and right. I wasn't selling all of them. I kind of, I didn't know any better really, but I was able to do deals because I was locking them up, it's key. Like, don't be so scared to lock the deal up and fail. Obviously try to keep your failures to a minimum as far as like locking them up and not selling. However, I love that advice that Flip says is like, it's a good deal. lock it up. Like, I'll find the money. I'll find the thing. And if you're in Arizona and you're listening to this, you got somebody that you can call right now, Flip, that you can visit him on Instagram, and he'll help you out if you're in Arizona looking for something. So, boom, your fear about finding money or finding a buyer is absolutely gone now that you know him.
Absolutely. Yeah, I'd love to help out. And, it's second nature. There's no, and seeing someone succeed is fun too. Like when they get their first check on a wholesale, and this is real where you could really make a good income.
Yeah. Yeah. And I heard you say that now you got some students, or you're coaching some students again. What have you seen has been like your most successful students? What are some of like the habits or the practices that they do from starting out that helps them be successful and helps them get multiple deals?
Yeah. So, there's so many coaches, trainers, mentors out there right now. And, one thing is interesting as far as who they select and the value and perceived value. So like I'm doing a contest right now, Raul, where I'm picking 5 students to work with, and I have a curriculum set up the next 5 months. And then I'll show them everything they'll ever need to know about flipping, wholesale, Airbnb. But they have to be committed for 5 months. It's $555 per month. And I'll work with them every week on Zoom calls. But they have to tell me why they want to do real estate investing, because the why has to be the driver. Because you asked me about like the best students, they had a big why behind why they wanted to succeed, because it's not easy. Every day is, and I'm not going to wake them up. I'm not going to call them. Like, that's not what I do. So they got to really be committed.
They have to want it. They have to want it. That's very key. And, everybody's why is probably going to be slightly different. It's okay to be different. It's okay to not have the same why as other people and all, but it's important. I think, Flip, and maybe you can touch on this, that whatever it is, you just gotta want it. Like, you gotta believe that it's that starting this business venture is gonna help you get there.
100%. And there's so many guys nowadays reading these books that I read 20 years ago. I got a vast library of like books upstairs, and I love it because it's self-development. I mean, owning a real estate company or owning an investment company and believing in yourself, there's no better way to go about, for me, for what I found, because there's so many benefits of it. But again, they got to figure out the why, and it's different. Your why is different than Flip's why. And, I don't want to be Raul, and you probably don't want to be Flip. You just got to be the best version of you.
I like that. That's really good. Just be the best version of you. And like, so let's say that you got, your why down packed, and, basically someone understands why they want to do it. What would you say would be the next step if they wanted to? Let's say the goal is to own rental properties. They want to have, a couple $1,000s per month in passive income in the next, 5 or 10 years. What would you start kind of guiding them to do?
Excellent question, Raul. So I wish, looking back, I would have did these things, because I would have been I thought I was going to retire at a younger age, but again, the recession came, and it's a good thing I didn't, because I wouldn't be good at doing anything retired. So what I learned from my mentor was you don't need a lot of long-term holds to secure your retirement. So just like start with one turns into 3 turns into 10. So gradually build it over time, and then, pay those things off, whether it's through Airbnb, long-term rentals, because that passive mailbox money, like I have stuff from 2000 I still own, and, you pay the principal down, and, you're cash flowing every month.
Yeah, that's a beautiful thing, man. And I think a lot of us get into real estate for just kind of that mailbox type of money, but then we start losing sight because the flip money can be so big, or it's very
Yeah.
sexy, or it's got like a, it's easier sometimes just to collect a big check than to like rent it, find a tenant, fix it, manage the thing, all this stuff. What do you, I guess, like what kind of disciplines you think that people should kind of put in place to be able to stay on track to keep that momentum to get that mailbox money that we all want?
Yeah, I would ask, which I ask myself all the time, is like, all right, I could wholesale this house and make 30,000, and I've done it, and that's great. You get a check in or a direct deposit, 30K in your bank account, but look back, where are you investing that money? Like, are you buying a new car? Are you buying a Mercedes? Like, what, stuff are you buying versus do I just put it to another home as a down payment and get bank financing? So those things you got to decide on your own. But from my experience, like, yeah, I like making big checks, but like, you got to think 10 years down the road is it going to be here?
Yeah, and it's going to happen pretty quickly. It happens in a blink of an eye for sure.
Yes.
So you've been in them for a while, and that fascinates me because it's not often you talk to people who've been in for 20 years in the flipping game and all this stuff. And I know this is like a very broad and kind of economic subject, but you've been through cycles and you've done the cycle game. What's your take on kind of I know we have like this Corona stuff going on, but let's say things get kind of equalized. What is some insight you can give us on like cycles as far as not so much like numbers and stuff, but more the mindset of a cycle? Like what mindset would a successful investor have when the next cycle happens or is happening? What should we keep in mind so that we can like keep going the right direction?
Yeah, my mentor that I met in 2003. So I met him. I was chugging along for like 5 years on my own. But, that's the other thing we got to realize, that finding a mentor is like so invaluable. I mean, it's just, It could 10x you like really quick. So when I met him, he had been in real estate from, he had done it for 30 years, and then he retired at 50, traveled the world. Then at 65, he wanted to get back into it. I'm like, are you sure? And so we started, like, I wholesaled him a property, and then I did something favorable to him. And since that time, he wanted to work, and we formed a business together, and we did well for like 5 years. But then the recession hit in 08, 09. And he had been through 3 previous ones, but never as bad as the financial collapse in 08. So we lost a lot of properties, a lot of money. But, through that, I guess the mindset, Raul, was first of all, like, this is all I know. This is all I'd like to do and love to do. So I wasn't going to stop doing it. Like, so we had a lot of people stop being a mortgage broker. We had a lot of guys stop wholesaling, stop flipping. I was able to stay in it, thankfully, until the recession passed. And, the mindset, like, even today with the Corona, I think it's just a hiccup. And, all the guys that I deal with high level, they're actively buying. They're scaling some of their operations. They're doubling down right now because they really believe, we'll get by this. It's not like it was in 08, 09.
Right. Yeah, so, man, and that's because kind of going through, I wasn't around in that cycle. I started like briefly after. But going through like one of those cycles must be pretty almost like business wise traumatic, because what you know, and then in a couple months time, whatever you thought you knew is completely slipped out under you. and it must have been tough, but the mindset that you mentioned there that you and your mentor kind of got from each other was stay in it. You know, find a way to stay. If you really are passionate about the game and you're passionate about like creating that real estate wealth, so then what good is it going to be if you leave?
It would have been easy to quit, to be honest with you, but like I wasn't going to hang it up. And yeah, it was traumatic, but I had someone that I was working with, so that made it a lot easier. The fact that I had a partner mentor, I couldn't imagine going through something like that on your own.
Yeah, no, good for you. I think that's awesome. And I love that you've mentioned mentor and coach a couple times or all that. It's, you know, there can be some bad notions about it. Like, oh, you know, I can't afford it, or it's not worth it. Or what does he know that I can't like get on YouTube? And not that those things are bad concerns. But what would you say to maybe, well, because you always got a mentor even from the beginning, even your workout mentor, but what would you say about like what makes a good mentor or coach or, you know, partner that is kind of a little bit better off than you in the business? What makes that person such a valuable figure for one's life when starting out?
You know, that's why I started the show. It's called Cut the Curve, live every day at 9 a.m. On my Instagram, Flippin _AZ, Flippin AZ. And so working with a coach, whether it's a trainer in the gym, whether it's you know, a guy that's teaching your golf swing, they pretty much mastered, you know, a great deal where you want to go. So like I've navigated a lot of those issues that come on a flip. I've navigated how to wholesale, what to do. Like, so get someone, and I would, why not pay for it? If you really want something, nothing's for free, I would say. I mean, you could learn free content, but like you are having your money, first of all, is committed. So now you're committed. That's why I don't, you know, I'm not going to take on a guy and spend tons of time, because if they don't have money on the line, they could quit any day.
Yeah. When you pay attention, man. That rule doesn't fail. That's why, well, in America, in America, college isn't free. You know, you got to pay, because imagine if college was free. I know there's countries, but you know, we're not talking that, you know, politics here, but imagine in our world, if university and college was free, I mean, it's already a shit show. Imagine if it was free. Imagine ASU free. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
Like, it would be a complete like disaster, I think. But but for your own life, that's the value. Like, things are not free, and if you pay, you're like, oh crap, you know, yeah, the $550 per month I'm paying Flip, yeah, it hurts me. But that's the point. You're gonna squeeze all the juice out of Flip in the weekly calls and these types of things, and you're gonna extract all the value you can because you paid for it. And then your goal is to make that 550 and turn it into, you know, 5,000 or 500,000.
Yeah. And again, my thing has been 5. So I created, let's make 55,000 your first year. You know, it's not real sexy to some 18 to 25 years old, but it may be, like, because they see some stuff that's not real. Like, you could, I mean, so let's say we do one wholesale deal together within that first month or 2 months. I mean, you make 10 grand on a wholesale deal. Like, that's something you would never have done by yourself, or you could, but it would take you so many learning curves, and like, you don't have that accountability.
Yeah. Flip, and I know you've been in the game for a while. So what, I'm sure probably a few will come to mind, but what has been your best deal thus far, or like a deal that you're like, damn, that was a good deal, or I'm proud of it, or, you know, I don't know, it could have been a flip or a wholesale or whatever, a rental you buy. Like, what was like a deal that comes to mind? Like, damn, that was a really good, or it was a cool deal.
Well, I know you weren't around in 06, 07 where things were just crazy. So I would pick a deal up from Richard. I remember a Scottsdale deal. Richard was from the East Coast, and he was amazing. Like, he used to pick these deals off. He was a wholesaler when there wasn't like a ton of wholesalers back then. So Richard knew how to meet with the owners. He knew how to lock deals up. And there was this one in South Scottsdale, and I made, just on this one wholesale, I made $85,000 very quickly on a wholesale. But after I wholesaled it to Rick moved it to another guy. That guy moved it to another guy. So there was like 3 or 4 investors in it, and everyone took a little piece of that Scottsdale house. It was like insane how quickly stuff was moving back in those times.
Oh, that's crazy. That's crazy. So if you're listening to this, like, and you have like a scarcity mindset, I mean, that's proof right there. I mean, granted, those different times, but I'm sure those things are happening all over the nation right now. It's happened to us in our business in Miami. Like, if you're thinking scarce, dude, there's money out there for everybody. Flipping that transaction made 85. His friend probably made another 10. Another friend probably made 3. Another one made 1,500. So like everyone ate.
Yeah. And then the end guy ended up being the rehab guy that fixed it up and flipped it, and he made 40 or whatever he made on the deal. So It was crazy.
So it's safe to say that was a very good. It had a lot of meat on the bone on that one.
Exactly. Yeah.
That's good. That's good. And from what you've learned from wholesaling and fix and flipping and renting, what do you think about each of them in the sense of like some of the pros and cons? Because probably most of my listeners are thinking about wholesaling and fix and flipping.
Sure.
So what are kind of some of the pros and cons that you've done so many of them? What do you think about like the wholesale, the flip, the rents? Like what are some good, some bad?
I mean, wholesale, like when I started in the late 90s, there was not like this wholesale. Like when I got into it, I showed my accountant what I was doing. He's like, you wholesale properties or you flip. He didn't get like what I was doing back then. And like nowadays, I'm sure if you took your books to a CPA, they understand or know that fix and flip is in and wholesale and so forth. So with anything, I would say get that guy that's already wholesaling, get that girl that's flipping, go work for them, go do whatever they ask you to do. And next thing you know, whether you're there a year, 2 years, you're doing your own transactions. I think it's pretty cool that we out here in Arizona, we collaborate with a lot of guys. I don't know if you know Steve Trang, Pace, the guys out here, but like it's not about scarcity. It's about like we trade deals all the time.
Yeah, that's big, man. That like abundance mindset and collaboration thing in this business is big, man. Because like I came from the car world, so in a used car dealer, we can go to an auction and buy 30 Toyotas, 20 Hondas, and we can do that every week. But in real estate, it's not the case. In the auctions or in inventory, you can't just go and pick and choose the Toyota or the Honda.
Right.
Here, the people with the inventory or the people with the right buyers kind of wins the game, and they're not always together. So I love that collaboration thing is big. Yeah, and Arizona has I know I have a couple friends that wholesale up there, and all of them crush it. Like there's so much activity in Arizona, it's insane.
Yeah, it's the fastest growing state, and the wholesalers. I'm like, I get new wholesale lists, emails. Like there's always new names that I've never heard of that are, it's small world but big world, and they're absolutely killing it in Arizona.
Yeah, Arizona's crazy. Like I know, I think at least 3 or 4 people that do more than 100 deals in Arizona.
Yeah.
Scottsdale, or I don't know exactly what areas they are, but they're based out of like kind of Scottsdale area.
Sure. Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, it's we always take it as a approach, like develop the rapport with the distressed homeowner, because typically they're going through, some tough times. So that's what we always teach when we're working with people, that it's not about the house. It's really about the people and what problems can you solve to help them out of their situation, and not like maybe we can't help them, but we're going to see if we can.
Yeah. I love it. And Flip, I got maybe like one or two big questions, and then like a tactical question. We'll kind of wrap this thing up. What is like the biggest lesson that's taken you the longest to learn in this like business journey that you've had? Kind of looking back at all of that now.
I'm still learning it, and it's ongoing. Like I was taught your best trait is your Achilles heel also. So like a couple things, I guess. I like to control like what I'm doing in the business, and that is a great trait, but it could be a heel too. So I can't be all places and all times. So I gotta I have to delegate. I gotta like build systems, and I'm still working every day to build teams around me, because again, like I don't want to be a solo entrepreneur, some of the 18, 22-year-old guys, because once you start leveraging your time working with people that are absolutely crushing it, and they may have a skill you don't even know you have. So, maybe you're an integrator, and they have some other skill that you work well together. So that's the advice I would say. Work with someone for first year, 2 years, whatever, 3, 5. And then as you branch out, build your systems and build people around you.
Yeah, that's and that's a journey, guys. If you're listening to this, that it's not that simple. That part of the journey takes some time. It takes some experience. Even Flip, that he's been in it for a while, he's even saying like, I'm not done with it. So if you don't get that perfect, don't be okay with it. I mean, be okay with that. It's not something that you're going to get perfect right away.
Yeah. And the other thing that Joe, he's a younger guy. He's like 21. So I got a lot of younger energy around me. Like I also work in Clever Investors office now. I don't know if you know Cody Sperber. He's big in the game. So I had my home office for like 20 years. And then recently 3 months ago, went to get an office, just rent a space there. And I love the younger energy, we got some 17-year-old guys working for Cody right now. And they flew all the way from the Midwest specifically to work for Cody. So that shows the motivation, the drive, like,
that's good.
Holy cow, these guys didn't have anything and they came out to work. So a lot of the younger guys, they have things I don't, especially when it comes to social media. So I've learned to work with them. And Joe, he's 21, 22. He trains my door knockers, and he's like, here's what I would do. Just run up to the door. Like they shadow him and see, because a lot of things think they need a script and they need to be perfect. Or what if they say this? What if they say that? And that, I think if you're that age, you're making a mistake, you be honest. I don't know the answer, but I could find out. And, it works better than trying to make things up.
That's good. Yeah. Yeah, door knocking's not easy. I would definitely go with a plan. Prepare a little bit before you do something like that. But that's funny. That's good that you said that. Like the young people, I think, if you're listening to this, if you're young or not young, I think what Flip is trying to say, like that young, like that energy that, someone's going to fly from the Midwest to Arizona to work for someone that they don't even know, but they inspire to be like Cody. that's like a whatever it takes attitude. And that attitude it goes a long way. And it doesn't go unnoticed, by the way.
Yeah. And again, looking back, I wish I would have had that no fear mentality, because at 18, 22, you don't have any real responsibility except for yourself, right?
It's crazy. It's crazy.
It's fun to see.
Yeah. So Flip, let me ask you this, man, and this is more like a kind of big thinking question or bigger thinking question. When you think of $100 million, either being worth that or a company of that size, what do you think about? Like, where does your mind go? Like, how would you, gun to your head, you had to produce 100 million or a company worth that? What industry? What do you think?
I was talking to Patrick this morning. He, like I said, works for A-Rod. For some of your viewers who don't know, A-Rod's a former Hall of Fame baseball player that's just absolutely amazing, not only baseball wise, but he's even a guy out there. He always shares with me some of the guys that he meets with on these Zoom calls. And I just want to give you an example of who he recently sent me. So Patrick shares with me who he gets on the phone with, who mentors him and who he learns for. And, it's pretty cool to see. So Starwood, this guy here, Starwood Capital. I don't know if you've heard of
course.
Barry Stern. I'd never heard of him, but Patrick is I was on the call with him today, and he's worth, I don't know, so much money. And so, learning from watching them, and it's very inspiring.
Right. So what industry or what do you think it would take to get close to that 100 million? Do you think it's in real estate? Do you see opportunity there? Do you see it in tech, or what kind of world?
I will continue the journey of real estate. I'm going to build, my goal was to build, and it still is, to find a couple pieces of land and build spec homes, and start there. And, I want to start buying larger pieces of long-term apartment buildings, stuff like that. So for me, that's true wealth. I'm not a techie guy. There's a lot of startups and a lot of things. One of my buddies, Chris, he was the guru at the first guy down at the Phoenix auctions, and he did extremely well. And then he was an engineer mind. He bought an airline parts company, sold that. So technology, of course, there's a lot of money in tech, but more millionaires, I understand, are made through real estate than any other field.
Yeah, no, definitely. I think there's opportunity everywhere. Real estate's big, the tech stuff. Dude, so, all right, let's say that, and we'll kind of wrap it up after this one here, but let's say that Donald Trump took away Flip's money. They went into your accounts and wiped them, but you still know what you know. What would you do if you had a couple $100 in your pocket and you had to get a deal, or you had to make some money to pay bills in real estate? What would you do? You know what you know, and you have maybe $300 or $500.
Yeah, again, that's why a lot of the seminars are in virtual, seminars. What they teach, Raul, right now is wholesaling. So I don't need a ton of capital. I was looking through some files because I'm training Sonia, one of my students, and typically when I go in to take control of a property, I put as little down as possible for that deal. So whether it's $500, $1,000, so say I got 500 left, I would put 500 on this house, and then this house I wholesaled that I was showing Sonia, I put 1,000 down, and I bought it at $100,000, and I wholesale it $135,000. So without using a ton of my own money, $1,000, and you create that from nothing.
I love it. I love it. So, man, guys, you see, like Flip, been in the business for a long time, keeps it very simple. Keeps it very simple, man. You just get that money, you find that deal, you put it down, and you flip it, man. And once you got the good deal, it's easy to find a good buyer. That's not the problem.
And the interesting thing, Raul, the hardest one is always the first one, right? So, like, I don't know if you remember your first deal, but like to get in it, like it seems so hard. Then when you finally get it, then you get to your second, third, and it kind of opens up things.
Yeah. The first one's the worst one. Then after that, it's fun, man, and it gets addicting.
Yeah.
But Flip, man, I appreciate you coming on, brother. It's been awesome to meet you and hear some of your experiences. I know you're in that Arizona market, so how can people reach out to you or like learn from you or follow you or kind of get to know you a little bit more on online?
Awesome, Raul. Thanks again for having me. So every morning at 9 a.m. PST time, we started a show. I started it. It's called Cut the Curve.
That's pretty cool.
And it's on Instagram Live. Have you had a chance to watch it?
No. I didn't even know.
Okay, yeah. So that's the best way to check me out. Like, and what I do is I interview moguls, mentors, and serial entrepreneurs. So I've only been at it for about a month, but I've had Kent Clothier. I had Brent Daniels this week. Some big names in the investment game that are worth millions. And I'm very humbled that they wanted to come on the show. So like every day it's cutting the curve. So you don't have to like learn the hard way. I'm trying to, whoever wants to watch, it's free, and they can learn from Brent Daniels. They can learn from, some of the guests I had on This Mom Flips, a lady out of Orange County that flipped 55 homes last year. So I have all these experts doing what they're doing and talk to them for 15 minutes, and you guys could watch it on Flippin_AZ.
I love it. And I'm going to put your Instagram handle on the description here. So definitely, guys, go follow Flip. I mean, and that's free. It's 15 minutes every morning. You're going to get a ton of value out of it because, he interviews some high-level people, and you just go out there and crush it, man. So, Flip, dude, it's been awesome to meet you. I appreciate, again, you coming on. And, guys, if you're listening to this on iTunes, you can check us out on YouTube and or also on our website, raulblufa.com. But other than that, I'll catch you on the next episode. Thanks again, Flip.
Awesome, Raul. Thanks for having me. And have to grab a beer out there in Miami or Phoenix when all this gets by.
Let's do it.
All right, brother. Thank you. Peace.